Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Do you need motivation to get to the gym on the weekend or even in general? Tune into the Movement Hour each Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. Movement Academy owner Robert Kuhlman will host the show as he introduces new ways to stay in shape. The Movement Hour, every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals in everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
This is Coach Bill Bush. You all know my passion for Nebraska. Having coached all over the country, I can honestly say there is no place like Nebraska. You know where there's also no place like? Midwest Bank. Midwest Bank has proudly served Nebraska for over 70 years, and they're located in 9 different communities. Midwest Bank is ready, willing, and able to meet all your personal, business, and agriculture needs. Your community, your bank, and mine, Midwest Bank. Find out more at Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
It's getting nicer outside, but it's still hit or miss in the spring on golf weather. Not at Double Eagle Golf. You're home for always 72-degree weather with no wind. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues are underway, but stay tuned for info on indoor golf tournaments and book your bay for after the spring game in late April. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf. Spring is a time of new beginnings and trying new things. If you haven't tried Fuhrer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For parties for St. Patrick's Day and Easter, or celebrating the NCAA tournament with friends, there's no better dip to bring everyone together and celebrate something from Nebraska. Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Fuhrer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Join On the Block and Old School live from Scissors and Scotch on 30th and Yankee Hill on Thursday, June 6th to celebrate their grand opening. Feel better instantly with a beard trim, haircut, or a traditional shave courtesy of the experienced and professional barbers at Scissors and Scotch. Stick around after your cut and enjoy a beverage in their cozy bar area, and don't worry, there's more than just Scotch. Spend your afternoon with Scissors and Scotch at 93.7 The Ticket, live on location June 6th from 2 to 6 p.m.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown! 5 yards.
and return specialist
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
DeMornay Pierson-El.
Not only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights. Once again, it's Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. If you guys want to join in the show, Starter Heyman text line always available to you. We got Royals on the airwaves, but the shows keep going on through the social media streams and Allo, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and like I said, Allo channel 961. Plenty of things to talk about. I ideally want to dive into tampering. Matt Rule's talked about it. Other coaches have talked about it. Maybe it's something we need to pay closer attention to. So nonetheless, let's go ahead and bring him in. DeMornay Pierson-El, the former Husker. How's it going on this Tuesday night, man?
It's going pretty good, enjoying myself.
Yeah, trying to. It feels like another day, another tornado watch. Luckily, it's moved south, so we are no longer in the tornado watch area. But yeah, just a crazy weekend of weather. I'm going to stop talking about it, but my Lord. So again, if you're out there listening, no longer in the tornado watch, that's great. But if you have friends south Falls City in that area, looks like more severe thunderstorms heading that way. But DeMornay Pierson-El, I want to dive right into it with some Husker football and not necessarily the spring game conversation, but tampering. Nebraska, we had Chief Borders leave. He hit the portal, and I'm not saying this is a result of tampering. He could have had very legitimate reasons to leave, but it is a possibility, and it's a possibility not just for Nebraska players, but players all over in college football. Matt Rule had a quote talking about tampering, and on an interview, he said, I've had so many guys already come and talk to me. Like I said, you can kind of tell there's a lot of tampering happening in college football. Guys showing me their phones, showing me this. So if a player is urgent, trying to make a decision about going in the portal, then they'll sign up early for their meeting with me. Most of the teams probably pretty set. They'll sign up maybe later with week or maybe next week. Again, didn't go into heavy details about it, but that quote right there, you can kind of tell there's a lot of tampering happening in college football. Go showing me their phone, showing me this, etc. When it comes to tampering in college football, how do you fix this? I don't know if there's a bad idea out there right now, but the tampering is pretty clear, and that these players are getting texted, phone calls, emailed, Facebook DMs, Instagram, who knows? There's so many ways to communicate now that you can kind of bury it under the rug. But these guys are clearly getting talked to in what should be legal periods where you shouldn't be able to recruit. How do you patch this or at least make it somewhat better? Because it is getting to a point where it's ridiculous. Coaches from everywhere can just text players promising them money through whatever means necessary, through some obscure messaging, and then just trying to bury it under the rug, or just very direct messaging. And there's so much happening that it just falls to the wayside. How do you get in front of this tampering issue if you're the NCAA or even the Big Ten or SEC, if you want to put your own rules out there?
I feel like you have to make certain rules to where you can, kind of, how they got like the dead periods to where you can't contact athletes and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to enforce something along the lines of that, to where there's a period to where if somebody's going to transfer, you can reach out to them and talk to them and everything like that. And I feel like the punishment for reaching out beforehand has to be severe. Suspended for pay half the year or something like that, to kind of take away, stuff that these coaches may do and everything like that. And if it comes back to, somebody being connected to something before the period or not, they need a severe punishment to kind of cut that out. I mean, I get it and whatnot. But I mean, again, it's a form of manipulation, because kids are going to, look for the money, and, you can throw something in front of them,
Mm-hmm.
and you can, pull the rug from under. The same situation happened with the quarterback with Florida. That whole situation, and I seen something, not too long ago, where he's pretty much looking to play anywhere. He doesn't really care for, what the money is now or whatnot. But I feel like you have to kind of strap more so down, on the coaches and on the people from the other universities that are involved in it, because it's not necessarily, the kids. I mean, there might be a few kids, reaching out and everything like that, but I mean, somebody's coming to them, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot. So I feel like you have to enforce, severe punishments for, somebody stepping outside the lines. Not to say that they you can talk to them, but just in a certain period of the time. You can't, lull them to sleep or, entice them early on just because of, money wise. There should be a way to do things and whatnot and a time to do things.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm with you. I think there needs to be a harsh punishment in play. I think the faith I have in the NCAA to kind of figure this thing out is not high. I think if you're the Big Ten or the SEC, I mean, my Lord knows how much money those conferences make. You're going to have to make an example out of somebody to get a hold of this, because it's very clear that it's happening more often than not. And teams and coaches, they're almost getting more bold with it. And again, you can't blame the players. If someone came up to me and said, "Hey, I'm going to offer you 5 times what you make here if you leave today," I'm going to talk to DP, but I'm going to be real about it and be like, that's game changing. That's a lot of money being thrown my way. So it's not fair to blame the players, but the coaches should have that responsibility to really get in front of that. We do have unknown texter chiming in here. It says NIL deals should be paired with contracts. This, I believe, will eliminate a lot of transfers simply because, well, they are on contract. And that is another idea. Like, when it comes to these NIL deals, are you in favor of having some structure based, almost, I mean, you get closer to the NFL idea with it, where you pretty much just get contracts on players. You're seeing some universities just treat them as employees to kind of get around that and to really get them on pen and ink for their commitment. Do you like the idea of having these contracts based out for NIL on commitment year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and then say you get all the way through year 4, you maybe get a bonus on top of it, but just making it real, almost pro-like contracts?
I think that would be smarter. Kind of, having incentives in for things instead of, you just giving, a kid a $300K, NIL deal just for a year. Like, that's not, that's not good investment all the time. Or expect the kid to, what happens if a kid comes, a 3-star kid comes, to somewhere and, they ball out somewhere in the nation and, he becomes, the number one for something, or, he's in the top whatever. And, another, Power 5 university is missing that type of skill, or somebody's leaving. You don't think, that university is going to, hey, we'll give you $500K to come right now. Like, so I definitely think, incentives should be involved, entwined with it. There should be, a baseline of like, okay, we'll give you, $100K for sure this year, and if you stay each year, you get, if it's a $400K deal or whatever, each year you get $100K, or each year you get 75, and, you got incentives to make the rest or whatnot. And if you hit these amount of certain things in a year, top 10 in the Big Ten, you lead in touchdowns, X, Y, and Z and whatnot, you get an extra 25, 10, 15K into it. But I mean, if you don't have no setup of stuff, then you kind of got a bidding war with stuff. So I definitely think they need to, kind of adopt a little bit more of the style of how, the NFL contracts kind of go.
Yeah. And we got another quote here, and this is from that same article I was referring to. Matt Rule claims tight end Thomas Fidone is a prime target of tampering by schools who want him to transfer. So again, that's kind of where that article came from, stemming from him opening up about the tampering going on. And I think you're right. I think the idea with the incentives is, for accolades out there, all Big Ten, whatever awards, if you even, Heisman, I think you just have set bonuses that if you're a walk-on, if you achieve those, that's your money in your pocket. It's obviously not going to eliminate everything, because like you said, there's going to be a team out there that just needs to fit that spot now, and they'll pay an absurd amount of money if it means winning a college football championship. And Alabama and Georgia are teams that really see themselves poised to make that type of run. Maybe they'll just go ahead and say, screw it, we'll pay a lot just for that 1 year. But I think it can help, and at least have some sort of system out there where the guys on your roster know that if they want to get paid, they have to perform. And if you perform, you'll get paid and then some, if you're really performing at a level expected be, above what you originally recruited in. But it's just a mess. And this is, maybe why the NCAA was so reluctant to kind of open this thing up, but it's also a result of them waiting too long to open this up. And they kind of let chaos ensue when California basically just said, we don't care what you think, this is happening, we're going to start allowing NIL deals. And then the NCAA had to kind of try to rapidly do a 180 and it's just been a mess ever since trying to get a hold of it. I'm in favor of, honestly, the Big Ten, SEC, just really investigating these on their own and stop waiting for the NCAA to try to get a hold on it, because it's going to be the Wild West for a while if the NCAA is the one totally in control of this. I think it's got to be Big Ten, SEC to really just invest some money. They have more than enough. Get lawyers, whatever you need, do some sleuthing, if you will, and figure out which teams are doing this quote unquote illegal tampering and make a severe punishment out of it. If you want to get this stuff out, you can't just slap on the wrist. Don't do that next time. You kind of saw that with Michigan this year. I thought it was a little bit of a slap on the wrist. They got a college football championship out of it. And there is some serious claims to those guys cheating. I mean, having Nuri in here talking about they're running a QB draw and the nose guard drops into coverage out of nowhere and completely throws off the whole play. And it's like, there's no way they saw that coming, seeing the nose guard drop back like that. And it just broke the whole thing. So there's times where I feel like the NCAA is too light, and then they randomly hit a team with a heavy consequence, and then they give it a break. So to me, it feels like it's got to be the Big Ten, SEC, put some groundwork down, and just really get a hold of it. Someone's going to have to be made an example out of, and it's got to be a severe punishment, at least in my book. How long do you think it takes before we're just out of the wild, wild west of the NIL deals in the transfer portal? Because I feel like we still got at least 5 more years of absolute chaos. What are you thinking timeline-wise before we get this thing finally sorted out, where college football, it's never going to be the same, but we can at least all agree that it's more fair and equal once these rules are put into place to kind of control this NIL?
I don't really think there's a timeline necessarily on that, just because a conference can come up with something and the NCAA cannot approve it. Or, they can trial run it and then decide to change things, and they don't, they're losing power, and I feel like, they don't want to necessarily, step on any toes with, the college football playoff powerhouse. You got people in high places there that, have control and whatnot. So I think it's going to be like this for a little while. I think, it'll slow down with some stuff, and they'll get, I think with each year, it'll get, more structure or a little bit more, things to understand or whatnot. But, you open the bottle and you open Pandora's box. So who's to say, how you view something or how you see something is necessarily wrong or whatnot, and trying to change and, change the criteria of it. You didn't think about, everything, or you didn't, establish, a boundary or foundation of what things are. So now that you didn't necessarily, set that foundation, who are you to kind of come in and try and, bully into everybody going one way with something? So I think it's gonna be some time before that can really happen. I think each conference will have to step up and do things on their own, and then either the NCAA will have to support it type thing. But even at that point, if you're giving the conferences more power and whatnot, then what is their reason for the the NCAA? And I don't know if that's something that they kind of are trying to open, or open Pandora's box with. So there's a couple situations and ways of how things can go. Clearly, there are two powerhouse conferences, the SEC and the Big Ten. So, with college, the college playoffs and everything like that, they're becoming, what the NCAA was. So I don't know if, they're trying to, gain more power and switch things around. It's all bad, it's all ugly, and all talk is behind closed doors until they're ready for everybody, to know what's going on. So by the time, everybody will get to know, we'll already still be behind the ball.
Yeah, it's upsetting to me, because we're the University of Nebraska. We have a lot more capital and a lot more money that even when this stuff goes on, we've seen it in the transfer portal numbers. Matt Rule's done a fantastic job keeping guys locked in and loyal. And part of that's because he's loyal back to them, right? So there's good communication there, but we also have money to kind of help patch some of these things together. Even if somebody's tampering, a lot of the times I feel like Nebraska's got more capital than the team tampering, unless it is, a Georgia, Alabama, Texas A&M. Those are tough schools. I mean, the money those schools have is immense. And a lot of those SEC schools have big time donors, oil money, whatever the hell you want to call it. They got money in their pockets. But what really bothers me is that these group of 5, if you're Georgia Southern, a Rice, an East Carolina, a Tulane, good luck. If you don't get a hold of this, you screw all those teams that don't have the massive capital that these Power 5 schools do. Now, if it's one thing where you can get guys in, get them committed, and you show them faith first before any of these big major programs do, just for someone to tamper and yank your guy away, even though you were the one who trusted him first, and you can't blame the player for just wanting to take more money, but it really hurts the schools in those group of 5s or even lesser schools in the Power 5 or major in the Power 5 conferences, because it is just brutal for any of these smaller programs that don't have the boosters that Nebraska does, or Clemson or Georgia, Alabama, whoever you want to use as an example. They can't compete at all, especially if you're going to let teams illegally tamper in these dead periods when it's not supposed to happen. So it is criminal to me in college football that you're not having a stronger reaction to the tampering. We're in Nebraska. We can somehow, some way get through it because we do have a lot more sport financially. We got a good coach in place, but for these other schools that don't have that, they are just stuck in the water. Like, there's not a lot of maneuvers for them to just get away from it. And that's why you hear some of these coaches and people like to clown on them. Well, they're just mad because now they have to give their players some money. No, it's a lot of these lesser school coaches are upset because they can't keep their players at all because they don't have the finances to keep them there. And it's one thing if they go through the season and they legally leave through the portal. It's another thing when these conversations are having behind your back and you have no real control and you just don't have the finances to go ahead and help that player out. So again, for those lesser programs that just don't have the backing, the road to become a respectable program has just gotten even harder. And it was already a brutal thing to do to hop into college football relevancy with how competitive and how money driven the thing is. And this just like eliminates a lot of hope for those programs. So I think it's going to be a long time before they get this figured out. I don't have a ton of trust in the NCAA to really punish someone. I hope they do. I think that's the response they need. They got to go heavy on it. But it's going to be incredibly tough and unfair for these smaller programs to get into any sort of relevancy when not only they're dealing with NIL, but now they're dealing with the tampering during the middle of the season. So you can have guys on your roster just killing it. Midway through the season, they might be getting texts, phone calls, emails, WhatsApp, Facebook messages, whoever knows what they want to use so they can bury the communications later to pull those guys away, not only mentally, but physically once the season ends. So they got to get a hold on it. I think someone's got to make a strong example of it. And it's just one of those things where until someone is made a prime example of this is what happens if you tamper, teams aren't going to be scared. And it's just going to keep happening. And if you're a Rice, an FAU, just good luck, because your best players are going to get illegal messages at improper times, middle of the season, pulling your guys away just with big dollar signs. And you can't blame the players for it, but you can certainly blame the powers in position to get a hold of it. So I think it's just going to take a while. I do want to dive into a little more college football here. We'll tease it with this before we go to break here. Good morning, Pierson-El. We got to talk a little bit about the spring game, but I want to focus in on that Tony White defense year 2, because we saw some good things with Dylan Raiola and the quarterback room that should be exciting. Tight ends looked good. Berkshire, Fedoni, the running back room. But defensively, this is going to be a team that needs to make another jump. And I think if we're going to have that year where we look and say Nebraska's back, I think it's still going to have to be a defensive-led unit. Year 2, is this a team that still needs to be led by a defensive-first mindset? Kind of what Matt Rule was saying year 1. This is a defense-first team.
Say that one more time and you cut out, sorry.
No, all good. I said, is this going to be another year where we need to go into the season thinking this is a defensive-led team? Because Matt Rule is big on that. Year 1 is year 2 more of the same.
I think so. I think that's, what it's going to be. You have 2 freshmen that are, taking control of the team or are fighting to take control of the team. So you don't necessarily, I understand he's the number 1 prospect in the nation. I get that. I understand, that he finished inside the Elite 11. At the end of the day, you never know, what you have once, the live bullets start going on. So are we in a better position from that standpoint? Yes, but is that, so dominant to where it swings what, we've seen that the defense was able to do on a consistent basis each year in and year out, and you getting, a lot of guys coming back? No. So absolutely, defense is going to be, the heavy hitter and the strong point of things. Now, will the offense come along and probably complement, that and might take a jump at things, later on in the season or mid-season? Yeah, I'm hoping so. But early on, I mean, nah, that's not something, you necessarily, see to take off. When Tim Tebow first got to Florida, he didn't really take off.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I'm saying? Cam Newton was on that same Florida that team. He didn't really, take off. So just, understand, things are going to happen. We still don't know what the offensive line is going to look like and be. Hopefully, it'll be better. They brought in people and whatnot. There's still a lot of, unknown tangibles and things that you have to consider, and you just can't put, the offense over the top just because you got the number one prospect in your quarterback room. Or you brought in, a quarterback coach and whatnot. The defense is what it was. I mean, and the coach said, he did too much with moving people around. So I expect, a lot more, people being in one position and understanding that instead of having them to play and go off of. And I think, there will be a force to be reckoned with, period.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So does our texter here. Our texter he said it should always be defense first. Pair that with consistent offense. You win games. Big surprise, right? You win games when you compare those two together. That's what gives me a lot of hope about year two. If the defense,
not the way that the game is trending now, with it being an offensive explosive game with the targeting stuff and everything like that. I think it's not as strong as it used to be. Does defense win games? It can help you. I don't think that's the all in be all of games, because you one of your best players takes a good shot, or it's a tough hit. And, they're preaching, safety this and safety that, but it's just, a loud hit and it's a tough hit and the dude gets off for targeting, that could change, the game because of now, your star guy or core player isn't necessarily right there. So I think they both definitely have to complement each other. Your offense got to put up points and do their part too. So I'm not sure. I'm not on the defense all win all type thing. I'm not on that in today's age and what the game has become and be.
Yeah, I just think I'm defense first. I think that just puts your offense into great opportune positions. And then the reason why I say defense first is because year one, this team would not stand a chance even going bowling if the defense didn't step up and show out. We just really had to get over 21 points a game when we'd be bowling. Our offense was just unfortunately that bad, despite getting good field position at times, despite getting the ball at really opportune times with the big turnover from the defense, especially later in the season when they started getting that confidence, they started making those big plays. The defense is, if we can just be near what we were last year, holding teams below, around that 21 mark number, that sets the play for the offense. You don't have to have an elite offense. So that's why I think I'm still defensive led first, because year one is promising. And to go anything away from that in year two, knowing what the defense is going to be coming back, having guys that we talked about the NFL, some people, understandably kind of shocked, upset, maybe not even surprised by it, but no Huskers drafted this year. There were some guys that could have been drafted that came back to play on this defense in particular. So I think year two, you lean into that defense. You give, as you were saying, the young quarterbacks time to develop. And if they're anywhere close, I mean, you get 24 points a game, you're not losing a lot of games. That's just how good the defense was. And especially earlier in the year, there's going to be some moments for those guys to really flex their muscles. And then when it gets late down the stretch, Ohio State, you get those tougher games down there, USC, Iowa, Wisconsin. That's when having that elite defense is going to help, because your offense is going to be tough to put up points. So if you have a defense and you can just get your offense over that 21 number mark, you're feeling pretty good even in those late season games, outside of maybe Ohio State, whose wide receiver core and quarterback room is always just incredibly lethal. But it's been closer than I think people have thought in the past.
The Ohio State is honestly the only, real team that really, makes me nervous. You got Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator over there. That they're going to do some things, and they're going to be fast and moving and whatnot. As you said, USC late in the season playing these Big Ten teams. I don't think they're going to be used to that. And you playing, in a more Midwest, field and whatnot.
Get him in November too.
So some of those Pac-12 teams are coming over. They got to play, the Michigans. They got to play the Michigan States, the Minnesotas, the Penn States, the Maryland. And that's going to take some time. They might put up points quick, but can they sustain that for a whole game? The game is going to be slower and whatnot and things. So I don't. You throw that in with a strong defense, and like I said, if your offense handles and does what they're supposed to do and everything like that, if you keep a team under 21 points, that's a very winnable game. But if you're giving up 35 or you're giving up 30, now and your offense isn't scoring 21, now that's the odds aren't in your favor. So if the defense can handle and take care of things and whatnot, and the offense, like I said, probably around the 5th or 6th game, Raiola or Danny hit, their stride to where they understand things and they're comfortable with what, to expect, what people are going to throw at them and whatnot. And, you're going to be practicing against, one of the top teams, one of the top defenses in the Big Ten and in the nation. So, just give them some time to kind of catch up and things and have, the college games slow down. And we'll be fine. We got pieces all over. Now it's just, making sure everybody gets healthy, making sure, we do execute things on both sides of the ball and take care of business.
Amen. I like what you said. I couldn't agree more. I loved what you said about how can those, rest in peace, former Pac-12 teams, can they sustain it? Because you look at Oregon and Nebraska the past few times they've played, it's been Oregon looking strong. But that Big Ten game starts grueling on them, and here comes Nebraska late, pulling those games out. So it is one of those things where despite those teams kind of shocking when they play those out-of-conference games, they haven't been able to play the full 4 quarters consistently, and Nebraska, in particular with Oregon, has been able to catch them in that second half. So that adjustment period, we could even dive into that multiple times, which team out of the Pac-12 or the Washington, Oregon, any of those teams hopping in over to the Big Ten, which ones are going to struggle the most. But we're going to put a pin on it here. We're going to throw it to break. Went a little long on that first one, but not a problem at all. We're talking Husker football here. I don't think anybody has complaints about that. This is the Don't Punt Hour. We got DeMornay Pierson-El, the former Husker wide receiver, special teams threat on the Allo VIP line, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. So don't go anywhere. We'll keep the conversation rolling, and maybe I can even sneak in why the Chicago Bears should be the most feared young team coming up. I'm sure DeMornay Pierson-El couldn't agree more with that one.
Yo.
Keep your thoughts. We'll throw it to break, and we'll talk to you guys in just a little bit.
It brings green grass and warmer weather, but it also brings severe storms which can cause damage to your home. Meadowlark Exterior specializes in hail, storm, and wind damage restoration, as well as roofing, siding, and gutters for commercial or residential buildings. Meadowlark Exteriors focuses on fine craftsmanship and proves that in their attention to detail. They offer free roof inspections and estimates and insurance claim assistance, serving the Lincoln and Omaha surrounding areas. Call today at 402-875-2956 or go to meadowlarkexteriors.com.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars: Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Do you need motivation to get to the gym on the weekend or even in general? Tune into the Movement Hour each Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. Movement Academy owner Robert Kuhlman will host the show as he introduces new ways to stay in shape. The Movement Hour every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
This is Coach Bill Bush. You all know my passion for Nebraska. Having coached all over the country, I can honestly say there is no place like Nebraska. You know where there's also no place like? Midwest Bank. Midwest Bank has proudly served Nebraska for over 70 years, and they're located in 9 different communities. Midwest Bank is ready, willing, and able to meet all your personal, business, and agriculture needs. Your community, your bank, and mine, Midwest Bank. Find out more at Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
It's getting nicer outside, but it's still hit or miss in the spring on golf weather. Not at Double Eagle Golf. You're home for always 72-degree weather with no wind. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues are underway, but stay tuned for info on indoor golf tournaments and book your bay for after the spring game in late April. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back into the Don't Punt Hour. Once again, Harrison Arns on the ones and twos, as always, once 6 o'clock hits here on Ticket Weeknights. If you guys want to join the show, we still got Royals on the airwaves, but you can join into the Starter Hammond text line, as you've been doing anyways, 402-464-5685. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Allo, Channel 961. If you want to put a face to the voice or the graphic, as we got DeMornay Pierson-El, the former Husker, on the Allo VIP line. DeMornay, I teased it, but you got to have to explain to me why the Chicago Bears should not be one of the most hyped young teams coming into next season. You got to help me out here, man. You go from the roster, you got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift. You still got Cole Kmet. You picked up Gerald Everett, so you got depth there as well if you got one of your tight ends to go about. Running back room, you got depth. Wide receivers, you can't say enough. And then you got Rome Odunze heading in there on top of Caleb Williams, and a defense that led the NFL in rush defense, number one, passing about halfway down the road. But this is a defense that could be top 10 next season as well. The Chicago Bears offensively, if they get this cooking even to 3/4 of the expectation, this is a team to be feared. Break it down to me. What am I missing about the Chicago Bears, man? I think this is a team, league pass team that you need to watch.
I wouldn't say that would need to be feared. You don't know what the offense is going to look like. You still have a rookie quarterback, to where, you know, there's been very few rookie quarterbacks that to really go off, you know, that first year. So I'm not expecting, you know, that to be too much of a hit and everything like that. Y'all are on paper, y'all look fine. You know, you look great, seems fine and whatnot. But honestly, y'all might be the third or fourth best team in y'all conference.
Okay, but give it to me. Who do you got? Detroit, Vikings, Packers, Bears. Rank them.
Detroit first, Packers second, and then it's a toss. It's heads or tails between you and the Vikings.
You're
And
killing me, man. You're killing me.
I would give it to y'all solely because I don't think JJ is good at quarterback. So I'll go y'all third and the Vikings at 4.
I'm okay with the putting Lions at 1. They're biting kneecaps off. Shout out to Dan Campbell and company. That's a scary team, and they've really grown into their own. Packers, man, I can't hate them. I mean, I want to so bad, but I'm talking about the Bears being a young team on the up and coming. The Green Bay Packers are that. That is the team that proved a lot. Jordan Love, year 2, year 2 in terms of actually starting. He's only going to look better, I'd imagine. The Packers, I think it's going to be close. I think it's a coin flip between the Bears and Packers, just because I just think a lot of people, when they hop on Madden for the 2024 year,
crazy.
I think a lot of people are going to see those Madden numbers and be like, wait a minute, what did the Bears have going on offense? I get the history. Hey, Poles has been spending money, and this roster looks loaded to the teeth.
Madden, you talking about Madden numbers for actual football? Come on now.
Hey,
we understand what Jordan Love is. A lot of people, didn't know. He sat behind Aaron Rodgers and whatnot. He got to learn and understand the game.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very talented coach in Green Bay. They had pieces around him and everything like that. So, they're skyrocketing. So you telling me that Caleb Williams is already on that level? He doesn't need the year to sit and understand what it is at the NFL level. That's what you're saying?
I think he's got the potential. I think the surrounding cast around Caleb Williams is what allows this offense to take off.
Put the bias aside. Put the team. Put your pride. Put all of that to the side. I'm talking about real football, not numbers. Not. I understand they both got talented rosters. Got that, but I don't think Caleb will be anywhere close to what Jordan Love is out the gate. Now, long-term wise and everything like that, you would hope, he would be something, way better than that or whatnot. But your offensive coordinator, they still had people last year, and you still had, Justin Fields, who's not a terrible quarterback. And they had pieces there and didn't do anything. They had Chase Claypool, which was another first round talent. They had Mooney that was, showed up. They had DJ Moore.
Mooney's
that was
not.
there.
You can't. I mean, Mooney's good, but he's a third wide receiver on any roster. I just being real. Mooney's great,
but he was a number 1 when nobody was there. So which one is it?
He was a number 1 on the Bears because there just wasn't weapons around it at the time. There really wasn't until you got DJ Moore and Keenan Allen.
But he's not a terrible player.
No, but
regardless.
He was on the Bears as like a primary target because the Bears simply didn't have weapons better than him. But if he would have got traded at any point, I mean, he's wide receiver 3 at best on a lot of other teams. And shout out to Mooney, like he played great, but that's not a guy I can say like, oh, with him you should be dominating. I mean, putting my bias aside, right? Even if I'm not a Bears fan, this is what I'm saying. You look at this roster, whatever you think about Caleb Williams, sure, we'll put him to the side. Keenan Allen, Romo Dunze, you got DeAndre Swift. I love that move for him. DJ Moore, you still got Gerald Everett if you need him.
I understand you can talk about the players all you want to, but I'm talking about coaching and what they have there to produce and get guys to play. I don't trust that.
So you're out on Eberflus. Eberflus is kind of the.
The defensive side is fine.
Okay.
The offensive side, you couldn't make things. You couldn't make things right with a dual threat guy that changed the game up for you and whatnot. You didn't bring the best out of him, and you were kind of in a pinch to either keep him or go on to the next thing. Caleb Williams doesn't do half of the things in a whole game, and he does things differently than Justin Fields or whatnot. But I'm not so sure that coaching staff, he got players around him. I'm not so sure that coaching staff can get Caleb where he needs to be as in year 1 to look something or relatively close to what we've seen, Love has looked like in 2 years or 3 years being more comfortable in a system. That's what I'm saying.
Fair. Okay, so give me this.
I understand the players are amazing. That's fine and dandy, but you still got to show up and coach and get guys to do the right things. You've been there for a little while, and the Bears are still stuck. And just because you got two top 5 prospects or two players in the top 10. Oh, now and you added some pieces to it. Oh, now all of a sudden that coach is amazing and can flick and script and change things. Dan Campbell been in Detroit for 3-4 years, and you've seen, what he did to continue to build on pieces and whatnot. You telling me that in a year's time that you believe this coach with the 2 players that the 4 players that they got from, the 2 from the draft and, the 2 or 3 from free agency, that they're going to be over top and can take on the Packers or the Lions? No.
I got the Lions one.
Absolutely not.
Lions won in the NFC North. I'm okay with that. But I do think there is a real chance for the Chicago Bears to be that a hot surprise team. Maybe not even a surprise because of what they have. I mean, the defense, the way the defense was playing towards the end of the year, really top 3, top 2 in terms of creating turnovers. They bought into Eberflus. I had to take 180 on Eberflus just because I wasn't sure. But the players really rallied around him. And that Green Bay game, as much as we love to defend Justin Fields, man, that guy had opportunities to really put himself as I am the future of this team. And he just couldn't ever do it in the biggest moments. So you can argue it's the coaching around it. But with Justin Fields, it's just the passing. So maybe being with Mike Tomlin on the Pittsburgh Steelers behind Russell, maybe that's what he needs. I still think he can be a great player, but it just was not working because he'd always fall short in the biggest moments. So I get moving on from Fields. The Eberflus thing, I pulled a 180 on that, just the way the team rallied behind him regardless. And I do think this could be a team that's surprised.
When y'all don't finish 500 this year, I'll be waiting to say I told you so.
And I'll be ready to return the favor. I can tell you one thing. I think our future is better than your Raiders. So I'm feeling pretty good there. We can at least do the.
I'm not so sure about that one. People sleeping on Gardner. I didn't. You done looked into this. You done looked in that. Go look into Gardner Minshew stuff and what he's done over the last 2 years and everything like that. You plug him in with the weapons that he's never really had at all in his career, and what they're doing with the Raiders and whatnot. And we'll see. So I'm not. We'll wait on that one.
You're kidding me. Gardner Minshew, the lookout QB over Caleb Williams. This is, if you are right, I will be mentally unstable. If the Raiders pull off a better season and Gardner Minshew's numbers look way better in comparison to Caleb Williams, I love Minshew mania. The problem with him has always been the consistency, but hey, who knows? I will say one thing, and I'll give you credit for the Raiders. That defense is still going to be there. So they are going to be able to lead teams defensively. But nonetheless, we got through it to break here. We got the Chicago Bears, Denier, Demorne, and Pierson-El on the Allo VIP line where we're just disagreeing. I'm surprised we haven't had our guy Crowbait dive in here. The Green Bay Packers diehard chime in and talk down about the Chicago Bears, but you guys are welcome to do so. Agree, disagree. 402-464-5685. Like I said, we got the Morning Pierson-El on the Allo VIP line, the former Husker wide receiver, special teams threat. Don't go anywhere. We got one more segment on the other side.
Spring is a time of new beginnings and trying new things. If you haven't tried Furious Cheese Spread yet, the time is now. For parties for St. Patrick's Day and Easter, or celebrating the NCAA tournament with friends, there's no better dip to bring everyone together and celebrate something from Nebraska. Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Furious Cheese Spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Join On the Block and Old School live from Scissors and Scotch on 30th and Yankee Hill on Thursday, June 6th to celebrate their grand opening. Feel better instantly with a beard trim, haircut, or a traditional shave courtesy of the experienced and professional barbers at Scissors and Scotch. Stick around after your cut and enjoy a beverage in their cozy bar area, and don't worry, there's more than just Scotch. Spend your afternoon with Scissors and Scotch at 93.7 The Ticket, live on location June 6th from 2 to 6 p.m.
Spring in Nebraska brings green grass and warmer weather, but it also brings severe storms which can cause damage to your home. Meadowlark Exterior specializes in hail, storm, and wind damage restoration, as well as roofing, siding, and gutters for commercial or residential buildings. Meadowlark Exteriors focuses on fine craftsmanship and proves that in their attention to detail. They offer free roof inspections and estimates and insurance claim assistance, serving the Lincoln and Omaha surrounding areas. Call today at 402-875-2956 or go to meadowlarkexteriors.com.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mixed Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
Welcome back in. Final segment of the Don't Punt Hour. We got the former Husker wide receiver DeMornay Pierson-El on the Allo VIP line. And I couldn't help myself. We're going to wrap things up with a little bit of NBA here as the playoffs are going on. And just for fun, since the Lakers got eliminated, it'd be fun to do some cherry picking stats here. Since the 2022-23 NBA season, the Los Angeles Lakers have had a positive 1,017 free throw discrepancy. The second best team with free throw discrepancy, New York Knicks, 358. So the Los Angeles Lakers are about 700 plus free throws favored in free throw discrepancy to the second team, which is the Golden State. The New York Knicks. Worst is the Golden State Warriors with a negative 600. But my Lord, the Los Angeles Lakers, despite getting the benefit of the superstar calls, because yes, they are a real thing. If you watch enough NBA, you can be real with yourself and just acknowledge they are what they are. But they're eliminated. Despite the free throw help, all the free throw help they've gotten, they were plus 500 heading into this season's playoffs. They got the free throw discrepancy in their last game versus the Denver Nuggets. They led in every single game at half with the Denver Nuggets. They lose the series 4-1. Is the time to blow up the Los Angeles Lakers? And is LeBron James even a Laker next season?
Oh, I think blow up for the most part. Yes. Is he a Laker? I would think so, but you never know.
Well, Bronny's in the draft, right? I think that's where it stems from. Do you think he's going to follow Bronny? Is kind of the real question to that, because I think there's going to be a team to take a flyer on Bronny just to get LeBron. At least that's the way I'm seeing it. If you disagree with me,
but when you gambling, you could hit or you could not hit. So what happens if he don't come because of Bronny? Now what?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I don't think anybody's going to take Bronny unless they know LeBron's coming. I think it's going to be literally one of those offhanded conversations where, like, no one's going to draft Bronny if they can't get LeBron. We've talked about Bronny. I think he should have went back to college, not because he's a bad player, but obviously the heart issues, the health things going on. It makes sense he wasn't playing a ton of minutes. It makes sense his numbers aren't as great as you'd want them to be. Even if you're low on him, the health stuff definitely made an impact. I think he should have went back, and he can go back if nobody drafts him. So maybe that's in the cards, but I think it's going to be a conversation.
That is so weird. That is so. Basketball has other rules that football doesn't, and that is not fair at all. That is terrible. That pisses me off.
That you can declare for the draft, and if it doesn't work out, you can just go back.
That one, after 1 year, you can leave. Like, can basketball at least spend 2 years in college, please? They spend 2 years. That will make March Madness so much better. But I mean, that's beside the fact. It pisses me off. Where does LeBron go after LA? Is he Kevin Durant 2.0, just looking around to hop on the next best team to win another ring? I think that would hurt his legacy. It would be easier probably just to stay there and whatnot, or if he decides to walk away and just watch, Bronny play at the next level. You never know, but if he does decide to leave, where's he going to go? Like,
where Bronny's at? That's my only guess. I think he's going to follow Bronny.
But even then, it's like, will Bronny even listen to coaches, or am I going to listen to my dad, who my dad is? Like, that's you taking on a lot of things that comes with that, and that's not even guarantee you that LeBron is going to get you to the Eastern or Western Conference championship because he's going to knock out.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of risk versus you not sure what the reward is going to be.
It's going to be an owner that likes money. I think it's an owner that necessarily maybe does not care about the win-loss total, but it's like, let's sell some tickets. Let's see if we can. And if you are a bad team, throwing LeBron in there is only going to help. Like, I still think it's unfair to put that label on LeBron like he's going to hurt your team more than help it. I think if you can get LeBron James on a discount, which this is all speculation. Obviously, I don't have LeBron's number, and I have no idea what he's thinking about the situation. But I do think there's going to be some offhanded comments or conversations where they try to figure out, if we take Bronny, LeBron, can we get you on a discount price? And you know what? Maybe we put Bronny on a 2-way contract so he's still around the team. But for the most part, we try to work this thing out. You guys can take some cute family pictures, whether Cleveland, Magic, wherever the hell they land up. And it's a good family time. That's just the real way that I see this thing shaking out, because it's not working with the Lakers. That's where I'm at. So if we're going to have to speculate from here, but give me the series you're most interested in watching in terms of round one as these things continue to play out before we get out of here. For me, it's Mavericks Clippers. That's been back and forth. Definitely a series to keep your eyes glued to. What's the series for you, DeMornay Pierson-El?
That's the one. I mean, I feel like that's the only really, I wouldn't say nail biter, but it just, you never know, what it's going to be. So it keeps me, intrigued and involved in the TV.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's been back and forth. It's either Luka's night, Kyrie Irving's night, or on the flip side, it's just a dominant team performance from the other team. So again, it's going to be fun. Mavericks, Clippers. Interesting with Kawhi Leonard. They seem to be almost worse with him on the court. Could be with that knee soreness. But that to me is definitely the series to watch. We're going to wrap it up on the Don't Punt Hour. Shout out to DeMornay.
I got one other thing to say to you.
Go for it.
Even with Patrick, going back to what you said with Caleb Williams, even Patrick Mahomes' second and third year in Kansas City, he still even wasn't, where he was on the right track. He still even wasn't there with one of the best coaches in the game. And you telling me Caleb Williams is going to be on that level with not that type of coach on the offensive side? Come on now. Be realistic.
Good morning, Pierson-El. Can Bears fans just once be excited, man? That's all I'm asking.
I'm being real.
Time.
You pissed me off with that one. You were doing that. Yeah, I was thinking about that one. Absolutely not.
We'll talk about when we get to the end.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Well, I'll be happy when the Chicago Bears I'll be nice, second in the NFC North at the end of the next season. We can talk about, man, how did DeMornay Pierson-El miss so bad on the hype around the Chicago Bears? We'll have to find out as the NFL season, we'll have to drag through the summer. We'll have college football first, but that's going to wrap it up for us. Shout out to DPE, the host as always, and we got In the Trenches with Nuri and a couple guests as well up next, so don't go anywhere. We'll talk to you guys in just a little bit.